What's that one thing that makes you immediately say nope to a potential partner? Today, we're diving into that exact question. We've been digging through a bunch of street interviews to figure out the real red flags and absolute deal breakers that are shaping modern dating.
So, let's put it out there. What's your ultimate deal breaker? That one thing you just can't get past. We asked around, and let me tell you, the answers were all over the map, from super practical things to deep philosophical divides. Some of them might actually surprise you.
For some people, it is all about the hustle. This isn't just like a preference for someone who's ambitious. It's a whole philosophy. When getting to the money is your number one priority, a relationship has to fit into that life, not the other way around.
For other people, it has nothing to do with schedules and everything to do with beliefs. A casual mention of zodiac signs can suddenly reveal this massive clash in how you see the world. And just like that, a connection can be over before it even really begins. And get this, sometimes the deal breaker is just a single word. We're going to dive deeper into this later, but yeah, in this case, using the term female is seen as dehumanizing. It just shows a gap in perspective that feels way too big to cross. So whether it's about ambition, beliefs, or just one word, it's pretty clear modern dating isn't some straight, easy path. It feels a lot more like a minefield, Where one wrong step and boom, it's over. Let's start mapping out that minefield, beginning with beliefs and values. Okay, so beyond the day-to-day stuff, what are the real non-negotiables? This is where we get into the really deep things: faith, spirituality, and these core ideas about what commitment even means. And this is where it gets really fascinating. On one hand, you have people where a deep spiritual conviction is everything. That personal relationship with God is totally non-negotiable. But on the other side, cosmic beliefs like astrology are an immediate nope. These aren't just small preferences, they're fundamentally different ways of seeing the entire world.
And wow, this perspective on belief can go incredibly deep, even to the point of redefining a concept like marriage. The idea here is that a spiritual or covenantal connection can still exist even after a legal divorce. It just shows how profoundly personal beliefs can shape the very rules of a relationship.
All right, so we've talked about the big abstract beliefs. Now let's bring it back down to earth and talk about the concrete day-to-day realities. We're talking career, ambition, location, all the practical things that can either make or break a connection. We noticed 4 major lifestyle collision points kept coming up again and again. First, there's the entrepreneur's crazy schedule. Then, the unique pressures of being in the public eye. You've got the simple but really tough challenge of long distance. And finally, even having a profession that a partner just finds problematic.
You'd think 2 entrepreneurs would be a perfect match, right? I mean, they're both driven, they both get the grind, but in this case, it's the total opposite. The realization is that 2 super intense schedules wouldn't actually complement each other. They'd just be in constant conflict.
And what about dating when you have a career in the spotlight? Turns out the deal breaker often isn't the fame itself. It's about whether a partner can really handle the pressure. It all boils down to confidence, trust, and really clear communication, especially around those big public events.
Long distance is always tough, but it can become a deal breaker when the logistics feel really uneven. Right here, a business in Atlanta means the travel burden isn't going to be shared equally. That expectation is put on the table from the very beginning, and it's a practical hurdle that could end things before they even start.
And then sometimes the deal breaker is a really specific profession. In this case, bartending is the red flag. And it's not about the work itself, but about the amount of attention a partner would get from other men. It's a really honest admission of a potential insecurity that's just strong enough to be a deal breaker. Okay, so we've covered what you believe, and we've covered what you do. Now let's get into what you say, because the very words we choose can reveal so much about compatibility, respect, and whether you're even on the same page. So this whole conversation kicks off with a really clear stance on language. For this person, using the term female to refer to a woman is a problem, and that sets the stage for a whole debate about the power of words in dating. And this brings us to a fundamental disagreement. On one side, the view is that the word itself has a negative, dehumanizing impact. But on the other side, the perspective is that how you perceive a word is your own choice. It's that classic debate, right? Should we focus on the speaker's intent or the impact on the listener?
The language of relationships continues with this word, helpmate. Now, this is a term with deep, traditional, biblical roots, and it usually implies a wife's role is mainly to support her husband, a very traditional model.
Now you contrast that with a much more modern term, partner. This word carries a completely different meaning, you know? It's all about equality, shared responsibilities, and mutual support. It's a totally different vision for a relationship.
And this quote just nails that modern partnership idea perfectly. It's not about a hierarchy, it's about synergy. It's this idea that where one person has a weakness, the other has a strength. You're creating balance, together.
But here's the thing. You can agree on all the right terms, but a lack of clarity can still be deadly for a connection. Here, we see conflicting signals about a timeline for marriage, and it just leads to total confusion. It shows that mixed messages can end things just as fast as a major disagreement.
So after looking at all these deal breakers, from beliefs to lifestyles to the specific words you use, it kind of leaves us with a much bigger question. In this modern dating world, what's the actual goal here?
Okay, now this is really interesting. What we're seeing here is someone who is actively trying to make their own type a deal breaker. They've recognized a pattern in who they date, and they want to intentionally break it, which suggests a desire to get past a superficial checklist and try something new.
And that leaves us with a final question for you to think about. With so many criteria for the perfect person, from their job to their zodiac sign to their vocabulary, are we spending more time optimizing a checklist than looking for a genuine human connection? It's worth asking yourself, is your list of deal breakers actually helping you, or is it getting in the way?